What day is it? It's Wednesday. Okay, so the nuclear sirens are just a drill. Because it's Wednesday. And they test them once a month on Wednesday. Right? Yes. Yes, that's right. Okay, yeah. Because now they're turning off. Okay. What do you mean privacy information? Open when you're not driving. I'm not driving. Oh my god. I'm not even in drive. I'm in park. What do you want from me? I'm on my way to my radiology oncologist's office. I had my MRIs on Saturday, and I had footage of that, but I bought a Mac Mini to do all of this on, so that I wasn't putting all of it on my computer for work. And of course, when I tried to transfer all of my files over on the SD card, there wasn't enough room, so I had to do it in batches. And then I reformatted my SD card, only to find out that I didn't put my footage from the 6th and the 7th on my Mac Mini before I reformatted the SD card. So I have my 2 original vlogs and all of the footage from that, but I don't have any of the actual GoPro footage from Saturday or Sunday. Which is fine, because I didn't really like my footage post MRI anyway. I was being super dramatic about it. But to be fair to me, it was kind of a dramatic experience. I had to go in for my 3 MRIs, my thoracic, cervical, and cranial, to see if I have tumors any farther up in my nervous system, or if I just have the one that's in my lumbar spine right now. So I had to go in, and the place that I usually get my MRIs, which is the same place I'm going now from my oncology office, they were closed. I went in there and the building was open, and I was able to go down into the basement to where the imaging department is, but the door was locked and it was dark in there, and they were obviously closed. So I walked over to the hospital, to the hospital main entrance, because I've had an MRI in the hospital admitting area as well, but they were also closed, and this was 3:30 or 4 on a Saturday, and the hospital was also closed, and she told me that I have to go in through the emergency room. So, oh, this guy blocked traffic. That's super cool. So I had to go back to my car, drive it around to the other side of the hospital, because that's where the emergency room entrance is. And then I was able to actually check in and be in the right place. But the machine that they used for my MRIs was a machine that I hadn't been in before. And it was older. It was an older MRI machine, and it sucked something terrible. It was so loud, and it was vibrating so much, I thought it was going to maybe liquefy my insides. And it didn't have any bolsters for your arms. So normally if you're in a newer MRI, they're a lot bigger. So your arms, you can lay your arms down comfortably and your arms don't touch the side of the machine. But this MRI was much smaller. The tube was a lot thinner. So you're laying there and your arms are pushed up against the sides. And they didn't have the arm bolsters, which is the little pillows for your arms when you're in the tube. So I could feel everything. The machine was vibrating so much, and I could feel all of it. And for 3 MRIs with and without contrast, I was in the tube for 2 hours. And so by the end of it, an hour and a half in, I'm just super overstimulated, and I can barely hear the music through my headphones, because the machine is so loud. And my radiology tech was really nice, but I just, like, toward the end of it, I was really, really struggling. He came in to push the contrast, and the contrast makes me feel so crappy. And I immediately feel like I peed my pants, which I know I haven't, but that's just how the contrast can make you feel. And it makes my heart race. So I can feel my heart rate start to accelerate, and then I get all sweaty and I get all shaky. But then you have to go back in the tube. Like, they push the contrast in and then they put you right back in. And so now I'm super anxious, I'm shaky, I'm like sweaty and clammy, and I hold it together for like 10 minutes, and then I'm like on the verge of tears because I have so much anxiety and I'm so overstimulated and the machine is so loud. He told me that they were going to have to redo one of my cranial images because I was trying to deep breathe myself through it, and I mean, I was doing okay from a standpoint of, like, I was deep breathing, so I wasn't panicking, but I was deep breathing, so I'm sure I was moving enough to where it was affecting the images. So toward the end of it, he comes back into my headphones and I'm thinking, like, okay, good, we're finally done. He says, well, I think we have to redo that last one because it's so blurry, no one's going to be able to dictate it. It's like, I can't. It's like, I have 5 more minutes left in me. You can do, if you need to redo whatever, you have 5 minutes and that's it. So he redid one of the images. I think he redid one of the images of my neck, and I really, really tried to hold still. I like mummied my arms over my chest so that I could hold my arms and not feel the vibration of the machine. And that helped a little bit, but not enough to like make me more comfortable. It just made me less uncomfortable, I guess. But long story short, I got all of my MRIs redone, and then on Monday my doctor messaged me and said that all of my images were clean, so I don't have any additional tumors. Oh, look, they have all those plants. Oh, we have to go this weekend. Oh, there's a new nursery, like, lot. I think it's the nursery that used to be further down the street on a smaller, much more poorly paved gravel lot, and then they put a giant, like, nice new gravel lot with like a driveway into it behind Leaf Spring, and now it's full of plants. They used to just have like the tables and stuff, the wooden tables and the bistro lights, and it looked really pretty, but they didn't have any plants, and now they have plants. So we'll have to go this weekend when Cameron gets back. Ooh, what did you guys do? You're in trouble? So my radiology treatment plan can continue as originally intended, which just means that I'm going to get localized, I think they call it proton therapy, in my lower back, like right over my surgical incision. My surgeon was able to remove the majority of my tumor. Part of the tumor was intertwined / adhered to one of the nerve roots. So the tumor was growing on one of the nerves, not growing on my spinal cord, but it was growing on the part of the nerve that's like super close to its attachment to the spinal cord. Whereas my first tumor that I had removed in 2022 was growing on a nerve tail, which was essentially like one of the nerves that comes out of your spine but doesn't keep going. So that surgeon was able to just cut out the entire nerve tail, and he didn't have to worry about the tumor like being intertwined with other nerves or being too close to my spinal cord. Whereas this time around, the tumor is a lot closer to my actual spinal cord. So the surgeon wasn't able to manually remove all of it, which is why I have to go into radiation so that they can use the radiation to kill the rest of this very fast growing tumor. The plan as of right now is 6 weeks of treatment. He said like 15 to 20 minute sessions, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. I did get the $94,000 bill for my surgery though, and thankfully that was all covered except for my $1,000, I guess it's a copay for my inpatient hospital stay. But everything else was either adjusted down to zero by my insurance, or like obscenely negotiated down by my insurance, and then they paid everything. So the CT scans are much more enjoyable than the MRIs. You still lay on a table, but they put you into like a big donut instead of a tube, which is nice. So, and plus it goes by way faster. It lasted like 2 minutes as opposed to, 45 minutes or 2 hours like last time. I got my schedule. I was able to talk to my doctor. This was actually like a sub doctor for my normal oncology doctor who's on, I guess he's on sabbatical. Good for him. But this doctor was a female doctor, and she brought up something that my original doctor didn't bring up, which is that because of the location of the kind of radiation I'm getting, which is photon radiation, not proton radiation. I guess proton radiation is like the cool bougie new radiation treatments, and there are no proton facilities in North Carolina. So she asked me if I wanted to go to a different state for treatment. And I guess it's common for her older patients to just kind of take a vacation, or because they're retired, it's non-consequential and they can just go live in Virginia or live in Florida for, 6 weeks or 2 months or however long their treatment is. I told her that that's not an option for me. So instead of bougie new proton radiation, which is very, very localized and has hardly any like scatter radiation, I'll be getting photon radiation, which unfortunately does have like 6 to 8 inches of scatter radiation. And unfortunately, it would appear that one of my ovaries is in the line of fire for scatter radiation. So at 32 years old, I got to talk to my doctor about menopause, because I guess your ovaries are super sensitive to radiation. So even like just minor exposure or short exposure to a very small amount of radiation can essentially turn your ovaries off and put you into menopause. So I talked to her about that. I'm already doing testosterone replacement therapy, so if I have to do like estrogen and progesterone, it's not the end of the world. It was just really jarring to hear because I wasn't expecting it. Like I said, my first doctor hadn't mentioned that side effect at all. So it was just really surprising to hear her say that. And thankfully she was a good doctor, and she was very compassionate and informative about it. And it's not a huge deal because Cameron and I have already made decisions about, not having any more children. So it's not like it's it's not of huge consequence, but it's still just a weird thing to hear. And it's still uncomfortable because I'm 32. I'm turning 33 this month, and the thought of non-consensually losing my fertility, I guess, is just really uncomfortable. So yeah, overall it was an informative visit. I feel good about it going into it. Aside from my ovaries being at risk, well, one of my ovaries, my left ovary is further down, so it'll be safer. But aside from my ovaries, she told me that I shouldn't really have any other side effects. Like I shouldn't have any GI issues or issues like with my kidneys or anything like that, because everything else is kind of out of the way. So yeah, she just said to expect fatigue, and then maybe like some minor skin irritation, which I wouldn't be surprised if I got, because I feel like after this surgery my skin has been a lot more sensitive, and I'm hoping that it's just like a temporary kind of surgical immune response. And between being in surgery and then being in the hospital and my schedule and my activity being different, like maybe my body's just a little overreactive. So I'm hoping that kind of like hyperactive immune response goes away. But I don't know, radiation might totally like exacerbate it, and maybe I do get a skin reaction. I don't know. But I'm just gonna hope for the best. Thankfully I'm able to start pretty early. I think I'm able to start in 2 weeks, so it won't be one of those things that I'm like anticipating for a really long time, and I'll be able to just